Alicia Magnus Lewis here with the Los Angeles Tribune, and I have the absolute pleasure of sitting here with Cynthia Clark, who is a spiritual mentor. She is an expert hand analyst, and we're going to dive into that in just a little bit. She is also an author, and she has courses and programs that help people along their awakening and ascension journeys. Cynthia, it is so wonderful to be sitting here with you today. You do so much, but you are a hand analyst expert. And so I'd love to start today talking about how did you get into the work where you began analyzing hands and really diving into hand analysis to really be an expert in that space?
Yes, thank you for asking. It was not something that I chose. It was actually something that chose me. I was at the library one day and I just randomly picked up a book on palmistry, and I felt like I had read it before. I had this really profound déjà vu experience, and the whole book was incredibly familiar to me, and I got a message from my spirit guides, and they told me, you need to study this again. And that's how I got started.
Wow, and for you, when you were just getting started, what was it that you were learning about? And what is it that you wanted to explore more into when you were just getting involved? It would be great for you to kind of share what palm analysis is all about for those that may not know.
Yeah, so that time of my life, I was in a transition. I had sold my restaurant that I had for 7 years, and essentially I was retired. I didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. But I was really young. I was in my early 30s, and so I was definitely looking for something.
Yeah.
And palmistry really was that something, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was looking for myself.
Yeah.
And palmistry, that's exactly what it is. It is a mirror to you and all aspects of your life, including your life purpose, your life lesson, how you use your willpower, how you think, how you feel, your talents, your potentials, your subconscious personality archetypes. I mean, there's so much information in your hands.
Wow, so when you dove in, you found the book, you're like, this is intriguing, I feel like I've read this before. When you looked at your own palm, what did it first start telling you about yourself? And how did that kind of guide you along your own journey?
Well, I learned that I am someone who needs to follow my passions. And it also was a fiery hand, so that definitely fit my personality.
I like the red you have going on here, very fiery with the red hair. I'm into it.
I'm definitely a fire girl. Yeah. And so I learned that, hey, being retired is really not your thing. Like, you're never going to be retired. And so you need to find your next passion. And really what I found my passion was helping others to find their path. And that is what really gets me fired up every day.
And I love, pun intended, fire up.
Exactly.
For you, so you're also a spiritual mentor. So how do you tie in kind of palm reading and understanding that and allowing the hands and really someone's self to share with you and with them more about them? How do you connect that with your world of spiritual mentorship together?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things in the hands that you can learn is your soul imprint. So when you think about your fingerprints, they form on your hands 5 months before birth. And they're fully formed at that point, and they never ever change. So they represent that soul imprint. And they read like a roadmap. So depending on what type of fingerprint you have on which finger, and then the combination put together, that is going to guide you from a soul perspective. So it really opens up the doorway to spirituality and that higher perspective, that bigger perspective. because it will overlay into your personality and your free will, and they all intermingle together. So ideally you want to include your soul agenda, because we all have a reason for being here, and using that agenda to really live our best life, to step into our greatness, to be who we came here to be, and be the most authentic version of yourself.
Wow, that's so beautiful, because when you hear that, everyone has a unique fingerprint, but you can see into that. What are ways that people can kind of start to unravel the layers and levels of themselves? So say someone comes in from and gets a palm reading, right? What do they do next, like with this information? Like, okay, this is interesting. Do I ignore it? Do I say, oh, that makes sense? Do I journal about it? Like, what are people supposed to do once they have that knowledge?
Well, that's a good question. They can definitely reflect on the information. I've actually had clients tell me that the reading that they received became even more pertinent over time. So I thought that was really interesting. But it also is the doorway to the rest of the healing work that I do. So I love to take what we find in the hands, and then how do we elevate it? How do we ascend whatever the challenges are or the blocks are? How do we release those? And then how do we enhance the talents and the potentials and bring those out, so that you can really embody the authentic fullness of who you are.
I love that. And so you have your diamond program. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience is like when you work with people through that?
Yeah, so the Diamond Path program is really about activating your crystalline light body and stepping into that higher dimensional version of yourself. So we focus on 4 things, definitely, I always talk about. We focus on thoughts. We focus
that's a big one. It's one thing, but that's a big thing, right?
Yes, thoughts, mindset, mindfulness, all of that.
Yeah.
We focus on feelings,
okay,
because you're going to have some feelings that might be trapped in your emotional body, and they show up in the hands too, which is really interesting. You can see what's trapped or what's struggling inside of you. We focus on actions, because of course you have to take inspired action.
Right.
And we focus on responses, because you need to be able to, as you're manifesting, you need to be able to focus on a positive response as you're growing and ascending. So those are the 4 areas we focus on.
I love that. The Diamond Path program, it breaks it down. Like, knowledge is important, but I love that you have the action there. So you can really figure out, okay, what do I do with this information? Cynthia, you're also an author, and so you came out with this book, The Mojo of Multi-Dimensional Manifesting, Unlocking True Abundance Through Spiritual Ascension. So I think people may have an awareness of understanding of what manifesting might be. But can you please describe what you want people to understand about multi-dimensional manifesting? Because it sounds like, pun intended here, there's a lot of layers there. So.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of layers. So this book is the product of years of meditating. After I moved to Sedona, I started receiving these transmissions and these downloads from the higher dimensional realms. And I do a process called automatic writing. So I go into meditation and I have my notebook and I journal, and I'm not aware of what I'm writing as I'm writing it. And I have volumes and volumes of these books. So I put them all together in the Mojo of Multidimensional Manifesting.
Part 1.
Yeah, exactly, part 1. There's at least 2 more books in there that are going to be after this one. Yeah. But what I was told essentially from the higher beings is that to really manifest your best life, there are 8 essential intentions that you have to have anchored in your energy field in order to manifest anything that you want. So each chapter, it talks about one of those essential intentions.
I love that. And so for those that are interested or curious about learning more about what they can learn in the Mojo of Multidimensional Manifesting, what are kind of 3 anchors or 3 principles that you'd like to share with people for them to be aware about or think about that might pique their curiosity to learn more about what those 8 are? Because we don't want to give them all away right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, the first one I consider the most important, and that is, I know that I am a magical manifester of any abundance. So you need to anchor within your energy field a knowingness that you create your reality, that you are responsible for your life. So that's the first one. Another one that is super important in my opinion is I am worthy to receive. Because so many people struggle with that.
That's a hard one for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a life lesson that shows up in almost everyone's hands.
Curious.
In some capacity.
Does that show up in the hand readings? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so that's the other cool thing is these intentions, they show up in the positive and negative through the hand reading. So yeah, worthiness, so important. And then another one that is super important is gratitude. So I am grateful as I am waiting for more and more of my abundance to arrive.
Like I'm grateful for where I'm at, but I'm also open to receiving all that is yet to come.
Exactly, because gratitude opens the doorway for us to receive more. So if we can just be grateful for even one little thing, it doesn't matter what it is, when we focus on that, it expands us for more to come in.
Got it. So curious here because you mentioned that some of these kind of tenets, principles show up in your hand readings. Does individuals' relationship or understanding of gratitude show up in the hands as well?
Yes, I would say so. We can look at for example, the Venus Mount. Okay, that's going to show you your energy of having fun in life. Do you enjoy life? Do you have energy to enjoy life? It's your heart chakra. That's the section there. And if it's depleted, it's going to be flat. It's going to be blue.
Down here.
It's going to have all sorts of issues going on. Or it's going to be squishy. That's going to show a depletion of the energy. We can also look, relationships, of course, they show up all over the hands. You can see compatibility through hands too. So for example, I'm a fire hand. I read for my husband on our first date.
Wow. And you guys are here together. And he's your husband.
Yeah, we've been together now for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I wanted to read his hands on our first date, and I'm like, oh, he's an air hand. He's compatible with fire. And that was the first thing that I noticed about his hands.
Wow, that's fascinating. It truly is. And Cynthia, you have a love for traveling. You are a spiritual mentor and an author, and you're also part of the Pillars of Power, the 5 Hidden Secrets to Success, a film produced by the Los Angeles Tribune. As you reflected on the 5 pillars and thought about what the film was all about, why did you want to be a part of the film? What was the message that you wanted to share that you want people to be aware about?
Well, I love the concept of this whole movie, this whole production. It's just right up my alley. So anytime we can step into our greatness and really be the best version of ourselves, that is something I've been striving to do my entire life. So if I can inspire someone else to step into their greatness, and the 5 pillars are so important because each one actually impacts the other ones. Yeah. So if you start with spirituality, for example, it's going to impact your money, it's going to impact your relationships, it's going to impact your mental wellness. So these all interplay with each other. It's so important. And I feel like people oftentimes are coming from that negative or not self aspect, which is the life lesson, the challenge, all of that stuff. So if we can go into looking at that and saying, okay, let's pivot that or reframe that, and what do we need to learn so that we can move on? That is what I hope people can really grasp from the movie and really understand that they don't have to be stuck. They can get into alignment very easily through intention, through their heart, through being heart-centered, and really loving what your hands are telling you, because your hands are your roadmap. Don't try to be something that you're not. Be what your hands are telling you.
You don't have to look outwardly. You can literally look down. You can look within, you can look down at your hands, and to learn more about yourself. But it's really interesting that, you know, the art, the language of understanding self through hands exists, because oftentimes people look for themselves in the outside world, but a lot of the answers they're trying to understand are within. They're here at your heart, they're in your soul, they're in your blueprint of your hands themselves. So I really find it to be fascinating how your hands can say so much. They're a tool, we use them for so much, but they also say so much that we don't know, and maybe some of the messages we're looking to understand, or parts of ourselves that we're looking to understand, is showing us right here. Cynthia, what is a message that you have on your heart right now that you really just like to share with people and you'd really like them to hear?
I would like people to know and recognize that they are a divine being of light. We are here on the planet right now during the time of ascension, and we are ascending into a higher vibrational existence. And we chose to be here. Every single person on the planet chose to be here. And you were also chosen to be here. So this makes everyone special. Everyone is unique. Everyone has a purpose. And you matter. So I would love for everyone to remember that they matter. And
you matter.
You matter. And you're important. And the universe loves you. The universe is benevolent. The universe wants you to be successful and to be that beautiful being that you are, because you are so precious.
That's so wonderful. You matter. And, you know, as we go to close here, Cynthia, would love for you to share, because some people may know what Ascension is all about, and for some people, this may be the first time they're hearing about it or learning about it. What is it that you want people to know about Ascension and the time that we're in, so they can learn, they can explore, or they can kind of go within to kind of figure things out for themselves?
Yeah, so I was given these 7 aspects of Ascension. So number 1, being open to change. We're here to change and grow and evolve. Number 2, we are neutralizing karma. So whatever you do, you will see that coming back to you. So if you're a positive person, you're going to spread more positivity and you're going to receive that back. But if you have things that you're neutralizing, and it could be from other lifetimes you're neutralizing, you're choosing that in this lifetime. So there's no victims.
Right.
So we're also discovering ourself. So that's number 3. Discover who you are. Who are you really? And that's where the hands come in. We are learning our lessons. That's number 4. So we're here for spiritual growth. We're here to evolve. We're here to learn specific lessons, and we signed up for these lessons. Number 5 is we want to embody our exalted self. So whatever those lessons are, you're going to demonstrate the opposite of that to others. And number 6 is we want to embody higher states of love and bliss. So we're really tapping into that divine energy of love. We're recognizing that we're all in this together, and we're all here to express love in our own special way. And then number 7 is we're co-creating with Source, and we need to recognize that we are co-creators. We are infinitely creating in every single moment of every single day of every single minute. You're a creator. Wow. So what do you want to create?
What do you want to create? So Ascension is really the journey of self.
Exactly.
From this self that we're, the place we're in now, maybe places we've been previously in past lives, but it's all about learning, it's all about growing, it's all about evolving. So it's an invitation to look inward and to grow. Well, Cynthia, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Excited for individuals to learn more about the Pillars of Power film, and I know that we'll have you back. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.